Well, we're at the half here at Fullerton College Stadium, and it's been a night all about the legend, Coach Hal Sherbeck. I've got him standing next to me. And, Coach, the last time I met you, we were dedicating the stadium over at Fullerton College. I had the opportunity to meet you, and you looked at me and asked me if I was one of your boys, and I said, no, I'm just an announcer for Fullerton. And you put your arm around me and you said, you're one of my boys. I had the opportunity to meet all your boys, some of these gentlemen standing behind me.
They're great.
And when somebody says legend to me, the legend means that not you won a lot of games, Coach, but you touched a lot of hearts. Tell me what it was like. 2,000 players, and you changed 500 lives.
No, they're just a bunch of great guys. We had a group that loved each other, and they played together, and we have a good time coming back with each other and having fun. It was just a family. That's how we played.
You came here in 1961. You got hired in 61, and then I'm going to say quickly, coming into a hotbed of football because we had Van Orbach over at Anaheim. You come here at Fullerton College, and you turn around in 65 and say, well, Van, you might win in high school, but I'm going to win a national championship. How was that first national championship?
That was something, I couldn't explain it. I was so thankful for Dr. Scheller and being at Fullerton College. It just meant everything to me. We had a great bunch of players in 65, and going up there and playing before 54,000 people, it was just something I think the city of Fullerton really enjoyed.
Well, and then you turn around and you duplicate that. Really, when you look at it, you do it in 65, then you do it in 67, and then you have that 47-game winning streak. So is it about, because I've talked with Al Fiola, I've talked to Coach Sampson, I've talked to you generally. I mean, was it you had a bunch of really good football players, or did you have a bunch of young men that you could take their attitude and mold them into good football players?
No, I think we had a bunch of guys that wanted to play, and they just needed somebody to love them. And I was very fortunate to have Coach Fiola, Coach Sampson, and Coach Thomas, Coach Jesperson. I was the one that had the most fun because they did the work, and I was just there and was having a good time. And I've always thought if I could take that staff and some of the ball players I had and go someplace in a four-year school, that we could have won.
I got to ask you this, Coach, because my partner and I always seem to be going to Bakersfield for a bowl game. You must have had some sort of strange love affair going on with Bakersfield because, you got beaten your first game against Bakersfield and then didn't lose to them again, did you?
No. They beat us 50-0 that first ball game, and I was wondering what I got into down here. But I vowed at that time that they wouldn't beat us again, and they didn't. It was just a thing that to play against them. It was just super.
Hal, one of the things that I've heard about from you, and I read about it when Coach Fossil won the Super Bowl, is it seems like everybody that played for you, you touched them in a special way and helped them find their way in life, not necessarily in athletics, but in life in general. So how does a coach do that with a player when football or sports seems to be everything?
Well, I think the most important thing is we had a lot of guys that came from places that they didn't have a home, and I think all you do, if you love somebody and you tell them that, and you work with them under those conditions, and my staff believed that, and that's how we played, and we wanted to see the most important thing for me was to see them go on to a four-year school and then to get married, and all of them come tonight and met their wives and their kids. This was unbelievable.
you know, when we read about you, we saw that everybody wanted to follow in your footsteps, wanted to take your place when you left here at Fullerton. But I read no place where Hal Sherbeck was sought after by anybody else. The winningest community college coach, 47 games in a row. I got to know now, Coach, there had to be somebody in this Southern California area that was saying, hey, Hal, you want to come and play for us? You want to coach for us? Did you get the offers from anybody in the area?
No, I think everybody knew what my goal was, and when I finished at Fullerton, I would not want to go anyplace else. My wife and I wanted to go back to Montana, and we were very happy. And it just, and I think the biggest thing was the 47-game winning streak. You know, that was the hardest and probably the most fun, really. But all the bowl games and, you know, I just can't say enough about the players that we had. And I look back at it and look at some of the, you know, the young black kids and other guys that didn't have anything and just brought them in my office and we talked and they were told what was expected of them, that they had to go to class, they had to get the right classes, and the goal was, our goal, my coaches and my goal was for our players to get a scholarship and go on. And that was our goal, and we worked very hard that way, and just to have them get good grades and be good people. And I think that's most important.
Well, meeting the men that are out there tonight, Hal, I think you accomplished that goal, to say the least, of creating or helping create a lot of great young men that have come back tonight to say to you, Coach Sherbeck, Mr. Sherbeck, thank you for what you've done for us. And I guess as a coach, the greatest accomplishment would be looking in the eyes of all these men that came out here and the hugs that you got to. One thing I got to ask you, did you all become 35 and 19 years old again when you were standing with each other?
Right. That's what makes it so worthwhile, you know, and we're just, that's been the case. Every place that we've been together and the players come, a lot of them come up to the house in Montana, and we've just had a great time. And it's not like that I'm their coach. I'm just part of them, and we just, like, we love each other. You know, it's important to be told and to mean it that you love somebody. And I would say over half of our guys, and more than that, probably never had anybody say to them, I love you. And that's a big thing in my life, and that's what I believe. And I was very fortunate, like I said, that I had a staff with Al and Marv and Glenn and Jeff, and that we believed that way, and they believed the same way. So I was fortunate.
I gotta ask you one thing. I had a friend that played for you in 70-71. He played against Bakersfield down at Anaheim Stadium. So I got to hear this story because it was raining cats and dogs. You guys weren't supposed to be able to stop Bakersfield. I think you ran a 6-1, 6-down lineman, 1 linebacker is what you ran. But isn't that the game that Coach Hal Sherbeck let everybody know that he could take his own teeth out?
I don't know about that. It was one of the things that the guys believed in, and we were together after our game, and it was just us. There was nobody else there. And so I felt that it was something that meant something to the players. And it's kind of crazy, but we believed in that, and it meant a lot for us to do it. But I don't know whether it was that game or not.
The other thing I got to ask you, because, I mean, even though we've got an official up there watching the officials, off the record, because we won't let anybody watch this, I heard that when you guys had your 47-game winning streak going on, that officials even said publicly, that's it, Fullerton's winning streak comes to an end. Now, do you have any knowledge of that when you were a coach way back then?
No, but I know what game it was.
Uh-huh.
It was against San Diego City, and they haven't scored yet to beat us. And I got it on film. And so that was a tough loss for us because it ended our winning streak. And that would have broken the winning streak that Oklahoma had, and they had a 47-game winning streak. So it meant a lot to us. And the players took it very bad.
See, we got a guy back to the studio that believes in conspiracy, so I've got to just confirm it, that I got Coach Sherbeck down here with me to tell you that there was one conspiracy, guys. Down in San Diego, they made sure you didn't win 48 in a row.
Really?
Well, that's what we're saying together down here. Okay. Don't let that be public. Coach, when you look at it, everything else, is there one moment, I know with all the games it's always hard if somebody asks you this, is there one moment that you just look at and you cherish from your time here at Fullerton College that said, this was a moment out of all the moments, out of all the players, this was that one moment that, Mark, if you and I talked for an hour, I could talk about it for 45 minutes.
No, I couldn't pick one moment. It's like somebody would want me to pick a team or who was the best quarterback, who was the best, lineman or something like that. I could never do that. And they also asked, what was your best team? And it's the same thing there, because every team is different and every player is different. And I couldn't put one against the other. And I just wouldn't do that. So I just feel that was what was supposed to be done, and to love each other and do it.
One thing you talked about, and you talked about your coaching staff and the men that you had standing next to you on the field, defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators. What did Hal Sherbeck look for in a coach that he wanted standing on the field next to him? Because most of your coaches stood next to you till you finally said enough was enough.
Oh, I think, when I ask of a coach, it was not, I didn't hire a person because of his skills. I hired him because of his knowledge and because of the type of person he was. And that's the way we handled things. And so on the field, I believed in what they were doing and what they said, and we had gone over it so many times that I didn't have any thought of not believing them. And I knew how they were treating their players, and that's what I looked for. I didn't care about anybody of going in and swearing and cussing and doing things like that to a player. We just wouldn't allow that, and that's the way we operated.
Fun, love, caring, compassion, really caring about the kids and education. When you were here at Fullerton College, then that was the motto of this team.
That was it. That's how we approached it, and that's why I'm so happy when I come back and I see these guys and they come up and they bring their wives or they talk to me about their kids, and they're successful. They're out making a living, and right now it's tough, but I've got so many of them in the law enforcement, so many of them in fire and things of that nature, and I'm just very lucky. I'm the lucky guy, just to have them and to see them being successful.
Gentlemen, upstairs, you got somebody that I've got standing next to me who's a legend, and the reason he's a legend is because of what he just said. It's never about him. It was about all the people around him. Coach Sherbeck, it's always been a pleasure. I've had a chance to meet you twice. I told my son I was going to get to meet you again, and Philip said, you know what the theme is, Dad? Once a Hornet, always a Hornet, which sort of choked me up because, Coach, I wish I was 6'2", 285. I'd have played for you, and I never would have left Fullerton College.
Thank you very much.
The legend, Hal Sherbeck, the greatest coach in community college history and the greatest coach at Fullerton College. Go Hornets, Hal. Thank you very much. Hal Sherbeck, the legend here at Fullerton College.